All right, let's get to it. No doubt, I think for most of us who are tuned in these days, this is the biggest scandal of our lifetime. Global criminals, big pharma, government agencies that like to make us believe that they're health agencies, completely corrupt, and your money. That's what this show is all about. And we're going to give you just a small sample of what I'm talking about as you stay tuned throughout this show. Hi, I'm Jonathan Landsman, your host for Natural Health 365 Live. We do this show every single day, Monday to Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. And each one of these shows is really designed to help you to improve your immune system function, which will automatically protect your health. That's what we focus on each and every day. And by the way, if you're new to this broadcast, you've never seen a broadcast that I've done, please type new in the comment section down below. That's NEW, type new, and we can give you a big welcome to our Natural Health 365 community. Thanks a lot for being with us. And by the way, if you feel like this information is informative, important, and you feel like other people, I'm sure, around you need to hear this message, please do me a huge favor and share it right now with someone that you love. Tag them in the comment section. Get this out. Email it to them. Any way you can, get them over to Natural Health 365's Facebook page so they can hear this broadcast. Okay, let's get to it right now. Just a small story I'm going to tell you today, just one sample of what I mean by we are definitely living right now through the biggest scandal of our entire life. I have no doubt about it. What if I told you you were being robbed? That's right, you heard me. Being robbed thanks to COVID. Huh? Doesn't make any sense, does it? What would you do next? Do you have an answer? How would you react? That's exactly what is happening right now for months. Have you heard of Moderna? You probably have heard of them in the news. Basically, they're a company trying to produce the first COVID vaccine, right? And right on their website, you can read the very first sentence that they say. Listen to how they put it to the public. Time is of the essence to provide a vaccine against this pandemic virus. Sounds so urgent, doesn't it? And they're doing such good work in the world, right? On the surface, those who are uneducated, they make these kinds of lines really marketing ploys, people. They make it sound like they care so much about the public, don't they? It's all about the money, as you will soon see. Working with the NIH, this private company, working with the National Institutes of Health, and yes, Dr. Anthony Fauci, who I've talked about quite a bit. Some of you have been very funny in the comments, calling him Dr. Fraudtree. Fraud being first, and then CI. Very funny. But with your money, not their money, your taxpayer money, if you're here in the United States, since January of 2020, the beginning of this year, before anyone was really talking about COVID in this country, they've been working with this private company to develop a vaccine. Don't you find that very interesting, to say the least? Do you remember what I said to you about what Dr. Fauci said at the end of February to the American public? Even though he knew full well in January that they were full steam ahead working with a private company to develop a vaccine for the entire country. Let that sink in. At the end of February, he told the American public nothing to change. At the present time, we don't see any reason why anybody in the United States should change their behavior whatsoever. Folks, I'm going to be really blunt here. There is only one reason why the top infectious disease person in the United States would tell everybody you don't need masks, you don't have to change your lifestyle at all, you can go about, socialize, hug and kiss, all of that. No reason to change a thing. Yet, over a month earlier, he's already fully aware of how his agency is working with a private company to develop a vaccine for this pandemic that he knows full well ahead of time is going to spread all over the United States. And yet, at that time, as the top infectious disease person, he wasn't warning anybody to stay away from anyone. Maybe he wanted it to spread around a whole lot more. Maybe he likes the idea, perhaps just floating the idea out there for people with common sense. If it spreads, if it goes all over the place, is there a greater or less need for a vaccine? Greater, right? And that's exactly what he was working on. So since January, they're working on the vaccine. And of course, hand in glove, lockstep, just like everyone in this whole old boys network behaves. By March, the United States Food and Drug Administration, bam, they allow their fast-tracking human trials of this vaccine behind the scenes. Folks, you have to understand, most people have a very short memory. In early March, nothing's really going on. You hear a little like rumblings, it's out of control in China and it came overseas, and yeah, but no one's really flipping out like these days. And yet at this point already, the FDA is fast-tracking like never before human trials of a vaccine that normally takes years. Folks, this is, as you see in that documentary that was heavily censored on the internet, this, no doubt, as we get deeper and deeper into this, we can clearly see that this was a plandemic. Not an out-of-control, gee, we don't know anything about this. This is being planned and orchestrated at the very top. Please don't misunderstand. There's a lot of people in the vaccine industry. A lot of people work in media. A lot of people work for these government health agencies. It's just for a paycheck. They go along. They're getting paid. They do their job. They keep their head down. They don't look at the big picture. But at the very top, this has been orchestrated and planned right from the beginning. So they approved these human trials with healthy adults between 18 and 55 years old. Now, I'm curious, why wouldn't any reasonable scientist or someone who really wants to know how it's going to help real people in the real world, why wouldn't they pick the elderly population? Hey, why wouldn't they even just pick very healthy elderly people? How about reasonably healthy, asymptomatic, if you will, heavy people, obese people who don't really necessarily have anything else on the surface going on? You know what I'm saying, right? Real people who are going to get the vaccine, why wouldn't they test it with them? So these are a lot of things to consider. In April, Moderna, they get, lo and behold, right on schedule. Folks, listen to the money. $483 million Moderna gets from BARDA. Does anybody hear about BARDA in the news? What is BARDA? What is BARDA? Biomedical Advanced Research and Development Authority. Sounds very official. Who are they? Why do they get the money? So that the Moderna got the money so that they could rapidly scale up production of a vaccine. Not just test and see if it works, but to actually produce massive amounts of this vaccine. They're already doing this in early April. They're on one track to get as many vaccines made as possible and given to all the people. They know this is the agenda. This is not guesswork. And so BARDA is a United States Department of Health and Human Services office that's responsible for, get this is the quote on their website, procurement and development of medical countermeasures, principally against bioterrorism, including chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear threats, as well as, they say at the end, pandemic influenza and emerging diseases. This is the singular focus of this unit inside the National Institutes of Health. In other words, this is all money that they're getting from taxpayers, millions and millions of dollars, and relocated right to a private firm to develop huge amounts of vaccines. It's taxpayer money, folks. Your money. Now, here's the big surprise about Moderna. Oh, we're not done yet. Not by a long shot. The leaders of Moderna. Who are the leaders? The CEO of the company and the chief medical officer in charge of the science and the research in this company to develop something to save humanity. These people are really in the know. Do you know what they're doing with their shares in the company? You know, all you day traders out there, you people who know a little something about the stock market. What would they do with the shares of their company if they're about to come out with a huge product to go out to literally billions of people? What would they do? Buy up more shares, wouldn't they? Hold on to them because they're about to make a huge amount of money. Well, guess what? They're dumping their shares over this last many weeks to the tune of $21 million. The CEO and the chief medical officer, two individuals on this planet, cashing in $21 million in shares. They're getting rid of them for cash. Why? Before human trials are done and before this vaccine gets approved for distribution? I don't know. Could it be that they possibly think the whole thing is a joke and that it's all going to fall apart soon and all the shares that have been going up and up and up are about to all collapse and that $483 million, poof, gone. You know how you hear about the military wasting money on high-priced toilet seats and coat hangers and things like this? You can just chalk this up for another scandal within a scandal within a scandal. That's one company. You watch, folks. Remember what I said today. Moderna falling apart. Why would the two leaders bail out with all their money and cash in? Doesn't make any sense except for what I just said. And there are other companies. There are literally hundreds of vaccines right now in development, racing to be the one to save the world from this scourge that has hit the earth with so many people infected and so many people dying. Lots of companies are trying to develop a vaccine. So, for example, here's another beauty. South Korea's SK Bioscience. Sounds like such a wonderful SK, South Korean Bioscience Company. Wonderful. In May of this year, Bill Gates gave $3.6 million to this company, and they've agreed to produce a vaccine with none other than the big pharma giant AstraZeneca, a UK firm. Now get this. AstraZeneca is looking to produce 2 billion doses. More than that is what they want to produce. Maybe, just maybe, Moderna knows something, and so does Bill Gates, about which direction we're going in. 300 million doses from AstraZeneca, they're already saying, is being targeted for the United States. We have a bit over 300 million people in this country, and they have 300 million doses earmarked for the United States, each and every one of you. The vaccine is called AZD1222. Look it up, folks. This is all plain to see if you dig around a little bit. You will never hear this in the mainstream media. So every time you hear about me saying the mainstream media is corrupt, they're part of this scam. They are just steering people into one mode. Be afraid, be afraid, be afraid. Stay at home, stay at home, stay at home. Wait for the vaccine. Wait. That's their job in the mainstream media, to keep you extremely scared and to only hear of one viable option, the only one you're supposed to have in your head. They think you're so stupid that that's what they do, while in the background, all these companies are locking and loading, waiting to be the one to collect all the money for what they're doing as the solution to this pandemic. By the way, the World Health Organization, the second biggest backer of this World Health Organization that is on the surface out there to save humanity in general from all the diseases that hurt us today, right? Their biggest backer is Bill Gates, his money. And who do you think the World Health Organization thinks is going to be the leading candidate for a vaccine for COVID-19? You guessed it, AstraZeneca. And AstraZeneca, when you go down the line, working with this company in South Korea, is backed by none other than Bill Gates. Do you see this, folks? This is high-level finance, political, media, big pharma colluding with each other. One big whole monopoly, each one of them play their part to play you as the fool. Let you know nothing except the one solution they're going to ram down your throat. And before that, they'll lock down your countries wherever you are. My friends in Australia, I don't have to tell you, if you're listening to my voice right now, you're being subjected to a lot. We don't have to go into that. That's a whole other show. But it's terrible. Stage 4 lockdown, and they're talking about stage 5 lockdown. A lot of you Australian friends have been messaging me. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. But it is some news where the government is squeezing you as tight as possible so that you will be desperate to take the shot. Anything to be allowed outside your home again. This whole thing is being coordinated to do stuff to all of you. So here's an even bigger problem. None of this considers, and this is the biggest problem that for me shows me that this is all a scam. This is a big business power grab, controlling the population for their own greedy needs. The biggest problem in all this is what this show is all about. Never once do you hear these government agencies, these politicians who dress up so nice and say they care about their constituents, they care about the people, all the media that says they're out there to inform the public about what matters most in your life, all the games, the foolish games, the fraudulent games that they play to you who they feel are so stupid you can't see the difference between what they're doing and what really is happening behind the scenes. You can't tell any of this. They never utter a word about how you can improve your immune system, your powerful immune system, to protect you against bacterial and viral invasions, right? And so the big reason why, and I'll say the obvious, that they don't do that, and I've been told in many different ways from many different sources for many years, including someone most recently who worked closely for 2 years with Dr. Anthony Fauci, preventative medicine, all the things I'm about to get into, there's no money in it. That is it, folks. Plain and simple. Don't be confused from this day forward. The reason why you don't hear anything about these other ways to make your immune system strong is because they, government, politicians, health agencies, can't draw government money to fund all their drug research and development. Big pharma can't drive their profits. All of it, if it gets popular to do natural remedies, there's no money to be made. None of these entities will have their power and control over your life. If everybody knew how to take care of themselves, we wouldn't need the government to come in and save the day. Oh, please, government, be our savior. Oh, I'll cross my fingers and just hide under the bed until Big Pharma comes out with the shot that will save my life so I can step outside and breathe again. You understand? That's the mentality that they want you to stay in always. You're stupid. You don't know anything. Big Pharma, they know everything. Government health experts, authority figures with a jacket and a tie, they know you don't know anything. Stay in your house, follow orders, and we'll tell you when you can come out again. That is their existence. That's what they thrive on. That's what makes them important. This stuff they want to keep from you, what we're about to go over today. Thank God I'm able to still speak to you today about these things. Bottom line is, this whole notion of the evil virus is the germ theory. And I know a lot of you watching this, you get it already and will probably be very happy with what I'm about to say. What is the germ theory? Quote, the germ theory of disease is the currently accepted scientific theory of many diseases. It states that microorganisms known as pathogens or germs can lead to disease. That's it, folks. It was made famous. It was around for a while beforehand, but this germ theory was made famous by Louis Pasteur in 1860 to 1864. That's when he was heavily doing this kind of work. And to be quite frank with you, from everything I've studied about this man, flamboyant, capable to communicate, very aggressive about it. He was a tremendous promoter, salesperson, if you will. He was the loud voice of the time, trying to convince the world, it's the germ theory, man. These buggies that look what I found, these buggies make you sick. They make you suffer. These are the enemies, folks. And so that's what he did. But Pasteur on his deathbed, again, I know many of you understand this already. He said this, Bernard was correct. I was wrong. This is Pasteur talking on his deathbed. He goes on to say, the microbe germ is nothing. The terrain, milieu, right, the French for inner terrain, is everything, end quote. Bernard, who he was talking about, was Claude Bernard during the same time frame that Pasteur was alive. And also Bernard, you should understand, got his terrain theory, how the inner terrain is everything. How you are as an individual sets the stage for whether you will be more or less at risk for getting sick. Autoimmune disease, cancer, viral invasions, you name it. It didn't matter. The terrain mattered, and Bernard got his from Antoine Beauchamp. Sorry, I knew I mispronounced it. Antoine Beauchamp. And they all competed with each other, but like I said, Pasteur was the one who was the loudest. He was the one that was the most convincing that the germ theory is everything. So let's get off of that now and talk about what some really good antivirals are. You know, the kind of stuff that Dr. Fauci would just roll his eyes, laugh at it, and in his very arrogant way, he would say, that's silly to consider, especially when you compare that to a scientifically proven vaccine that has gone through extensive trials to really make sure that they have something really effective. You get their language? They talk in a very higher than thou, arrogant way that our way is it or the highway. If you don't agree with us, you are a quack. You are a conspiracy theorist. You're a weirdball. You are unintelligent. Oh, here's the other one, of course, as well. You're unscientific. Well, Dr. Fauci, sit down for a moment and let me hear how you would respond to all of this that I'm going to bring out for you right now. Number one, elderberry. One study published in the Journal of Functional Food looked at the influenza virus in vitro and found that elderberry extract, quote, showed mild inhibitory effect at the early stages of influenza virus cycle with considerably stronger effect in the post-infection phase. Pretty cool. By the way, elderberry is 3 tablespoons a day for adults on average. You should always check with your doctor. Don't go by anything I'm saying. What do I know? Don't do that. Go to your doctor and talk to them. And oh yeah, just as a side note as I plow through this, if your doctor doesn't know anything about this stuff, time to get another doctor, don't you think? And then 3 teaspoons, by the way, for kids who are over 2. And the key with elderberry is to do it right on early symptoms. Scratchy throat, runny nose. You know, you're not dumb. You know something's going on with your body. You're feeling a little run down and something's coming up. Something's going to be hurting you. That's when you take it right away. That's the key with a lot of this stuff is common sense. Early on, get good stuff on board to help you. Number 2, turmeric. One study published in Antiviral Research. Right, Dr. Fauci. There's no science here. Don't look at this. Actually, you probably walked away already and you're not listening to me at all. Researchers found that viruses lost ineffectivity when incubated directly with curcumin or derivatives of curcumin, which is the turmeric, suggesting that curcumin alters the ability of the virus to infect cells. Very interesting. Remember what we said about the terrain? When you get these things on board, saturating your body, you become unfriendly to viruses. Viruses don't like you. Viruses have trouble replicating from cell to cell when you have all of this material floating around and making up your body. It should be soaking in this stuff, folks. Understand it that way. And then, by the way, 500 to 2,000 milligrams tends to be the average and without any side effects at all that are negative. Only good side effects. Number 3, oregano oil, a potential natural antiviral that has been shown to break down viruses, reducing their ability to infect their host, that means you, according to the American Society of Microbiology. But what do they know? They're a bunch of idiots, right, Dr. Fauci? Right. Let's move on. Capsules or tinctures definitely is the way to go with these. Tend to lean towards the capsules. Easier to get oregano oil into your system. And as recommended, obviously, blah, blah, blah. All the things I said to you before about talking to a doctor. Number 4, peppermint. One study that was published in phytomedicine, researchers found that peppermint oil may reduce the viral activity of the herpes virus. Herpes is a virus, folks, when exposed to it in a controlled lab setting. So that's interesting. And the peppermint oil soft gels are readily available. Use them as recommended. And by the way, don't apply peppermint directly to your skin because of rashes and issues like that. That's not what you want to do, is rub peppermint oil directly on your skin. Just a little side note. Number 5, echinacea. One study in Virology Journal, I know, Dr. Fauci, these are just like, it's like National Enquirer, right? Virology Journal is not scientific at all. I get it. Anyway, one study in there said that echinacea extract interfered with viral entry into cells. Fascinating. So if we have echinacea floating around, makes it unfriendly for viruses to invade our cells. Pretty cool. And this, again, is the echinacea is available in tinctures, sprays, tablets. You can even get echinacea tea. Use it as directed, blah, blah, blah. The idea is get some of it on board. Why not? It can't hurt you, and it can only help you. And then also ginger. To basically finish this up here, researchers found that fresh ginger stimulated mucosal cells to release IFNB, a type of cytokine that contributes to counteracting a viral infection. Very interesting. So maybe we should have more ginger within our body. Another clinical trial took 60 volunteers with confirmed hepatitis. Dr. Fauci, this study didn't take ginger and put it into perfectly healthy 18 to 55-year-olds. They took it with sick people with hepatitis. Indicated that ginger extracts may decrease the activity of hepatitis C viruses. Very interesting. Fresh or powdered organic ginger is there. You can certainly, fresh, I would say, is definitely more potent to lean into. Add it to smoothies. That would be great. You could squeeze fresh ginger juice right into your tea, perhaps even a peppermint tea. That would be great. Your echinacea tea, and squeeze some ginger juice into it. Come on, folks. Supplements are also available. Much higher amounts of ginger, obviously, in supplements. That's fine. Use as directed, blah, blah, blah. And look for organic as much as you can. Best quality sources. This is obvious as well. Dr. Fauci, you are asleep at the wheel. You have never been there to really help individuals. You are clearly there to profit for your high-paying salary, to keep it propped up, to prop up the NIH, and to prop up all your big pharma and big financiers like Bill Gates. You exist to prop up all of their success at the expense of the American public. Shame on you. And of course, the last thing I want to mention before I check out here is don't forget about zinc. Zinc is definitely antiviral. You've been hearing a lot about that in the news. I've done a lot of shows already about how hydroxychloroquine, or even, interesting enough, a more natural version, quercetin, a flavonoid, both of those act as opening up the gateway, if you will, of the cell to allow zinc to get in the cell. And when we are zinc rich within the cell, it is hard for a virus to hop from one cell to another and replicate out of control. The only way it can do that, is in a very sick person, extremely overweight, high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer concerns, immunocompromised, liver and kidney failure in one way or another. I just listed literally hundreds of millions of people easily in just 10 seconds. All of those people are at high risk that when a virus gets in, it will replicate out of control and cause physical harm. It's that simple, folks. My question of the day: what is your favorite antiviral remedy? Let's hear from you. A, ginger, B, peppermint, C, zinc, or D, perhaps it's something else. Like I always say, I would love to hear from you. Teach me and teach others. What are some of the things that are helping you to feel great and to navigate through this whole plandemic, scamdemic catastrophe that we are all witnessing? What helps you to float through it and feel perfectly fine? The kind of thing that you wish that other people knew about. Tell me in the comments section below. I said A would be ginger, B peppermint, C zinc, or just fill in the blank with D. Love to hear from you. Just as a reminder, the Natural Health 365 live broadcast that you're watching right now with me, we produce this show every single day, Monday to Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Please come back, join us again, participate, and do me a huge favor, share this show with someone that you love. Tag them in the comment section below. Get this message out, folks. I'm telling you, the biggest reason why everybody I mentioned during this show, are getting away with murder is because too many people are clueless about very effective, safe, natural antivirals, and they're being played by these greedy control freaks that are only interested in one thing: pumping you with vaccine solutions. I hope it made it clear. I'm definitely looking forward to talking to you again on Monday. I hope you have a safe, healthy weekend. And again, I'll talk to you soon. Take care, everybody.